Hey everybody, welcome back. Mike here. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite features within PowerPoint, which is called path animation. This is basically the idea that we can take something in PowerPoint and we can animate the path that it takes. We can do all kinds of crazy paths, that sort of thing. So before we get into that, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I don't know if you heard, we're on our way to 1 million subscribers. It might take a few days. We're going to get there, so I could definitely use your help in doing that. All right, so let's jump into PowerPoint and let's start learning all about path animation. All right, so here we are inside of PowerPoint. Now, I've got this slide here that I want to kind of focus in on. This is a slide I came up with, and I want to animate it. And I haven't designed this before the video, so I don't know what we're doing exactly, but I have a rough idea. So I'm thinking I want this to maybe come in from the top of the screen. Maybe this one I'll just fade in, so I won't do path animation, just fade that one in. And then maybe I'll have everything here, I'll have this box and this box be already there. And maybe I'll have these three right here. I'll have them kind of slide in from the left of the screen. That's my idea. So let's do this. So to start off, we're going to go to the Animations tab. And I like opening up the animation pane when I do any work with animation. And if you haven't seen my video where I went over kind of the basics of animation in PowerPoint, you should definitely check that out first before you proceed with this video, because I explain all about the animation pane, entry, exit effects, all of that stuff. So it might be a little confusing if you haven't seen that before, but I'm gonna assume you've seen it. So let's go ahead and continue. So the other thing I like to do is zoom out a little bit in this case, so that I can pull objects off of the slide very easily without having to kind of move my cursor everywhere. So in our case, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the first set of objects, and I'm actually going to right click them and I'm going to create a group. You don't have to do that, but I like it because it keeps all of the objects kind of tied together. So if I move them around, like this, they stay together. I don't accidentally drag one of them off or anything like that. It also makes the animation process a little cleaner, so the animation pane won't show three objects, it'll just show one. So in this case, I'm going to bring it off slide here, but you see how I'm lining it up? So it's still aligned, it's just not on the screen. That's kind of what you want to go for. So I'm going to drop it right there. And now what we want to do is set up our path animation to bring it onto the screen where we want it to be. To do that, we need to make sure you still have that object selected. Next, we're going to go to path animation. And here you have different types of paths. So you can do a free form where you just draw whatever path and it follows it. Or you can do an S curve, or there's others here, right? Arcs. And in my case, I use a straight line most of the time. So that's what we're gonna go with. So I'll click straight line or draw line. And what we'll do here is start clicking where the object is as close to the center as you can, and then draw a straight line down. And we'll just get it roughly in the area. We'll have a chance to fix where it ends up shortly. So I'm gonna drop it right there, and we'll see it animate in. And honestly, I might have nailed that. I think I got pretty close. Now, if you don't like the path that it follows and you wanna change it, you can actually adjust these dots. So you can drag it somewhere else if you would like it to be. I'm actually okay with that. I think it's pretty close. Not perfect, but for the sake of a YouTube video, it's okay. Next, we wanted to animate this box. I just wanted it to fade in, no path animation. So I'll select that box. I'll go to this effect pane right here, and I'm looking for fade. So I'll fade that in. And then the last thing we wanted to do was have these three right here. I wanted them to kind of slide in one after the other. So one kind of comes across, then one over it, then one over that one, if that makes sense. So what we're gonna do with these three is, again, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit so it makes our lives a little easier. And I'm actually going to first select them all. So the way I'm selecting them all, by the way, I'm holding down Shift, and then I'm clicking each one. And from there, you could either just use your left arrow key and hold it down to slide them off in a perfect line. I think I'm just gonna click and drag them though, because I can still keep them lined up pretty good. So I need to zoom out a little further, so let's do that. There we go. So now I've zoomed out a little farther, and I'm just gonna make sure that I get them about where I want them to be. I think that's about it. That's pretty close. So I'm going to go up slightly. There we go. That should be it. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to create that zoom effect. I'm actually going to minimize that pane a little bit so we can see better. So from here, I'm going to start with the first one, which is labeled firewall. We're going to create a path animation just like we did before. And I'm going to click that drop down and select, we'll do this other line. So we'll select that. Now you see it completely disappeared. For a second, what was happening is when you select lines versus draw line, line just gives you a line right out of the box. Draw line, I had to actually hold it down and go somewhere with it, right? This one is actually not bad because it gets it right in the center of the object. And the green dot is your starting point. Red dot is ending point. So all you have to do once you've done this one is I click the red dot, I drag it where I want it to go. And this is really cool because see how now it actually gives me those guides, whereas before I didn't have that with the other one. So if you want to have these guides, you'll select lines instead of draw line. In this case, I'm going to drop it right there. That looks good. And we'll go to our next one, router. We'll do the same thing, path animation, lines. Give it a second while it does its thing, because what it's doing is it's animating it, not in a good way, but it's animating it. So now we can then click that one. We'll bring it over. Same story here. And we'll get it, hopefully get it pretty close to where we want it to be. That should be good. And then we'll do the same for our switch rectangle right there. So same thing here. We're just going to draw this one over there. And let's bring that one over. And that should be good. I probably should zoom in a little so we get it right. All right, so that should be pretty close. Now let's go ahead and preview it. Let's see what we got so far. So we got the top that comes down, fades in, 1, 2, and 3. All right, so that looks good. That's not too bad. They're a little bit off. I would probably, if this was an actual work thing, I would probably take some time to kind of fine tune these a little. So bring this one, that one's actually, that's about right. And then get this middle one. Oh, that's not it. That's one of the challenges with these dots. There we go. You got to make sure you click the correct one. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so now if we preview it, we should see they're a little bit more aligned. It's not a perfect process. Let's see. Yeah, now I've got that one slightly off. So what we want to do is probably bring this one back down just a hair. There we go. So I've got them aligned now, so they're definitely on a perfect line. I could probably play with them and adjust a little bit, but you see what we've done. We were able to get that path animated. And as far as things like the timing of how long it takes to come in and all that stuff, those are all things I went over in that other animation video, which I'll make sure to add to this video at the end of it. You'll see it as a recommended video. Definitely check it out. But hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you get an idea of how you can do path animation now. So that's all I got for you. Until next time, stay safe and healthy. Take care.